Hello, Paul. Hello, Bondex.
Hello, Ignacio. How you doing?
Well, it's been really sunny in London lately. It's a little bit gray today, but excited to chat with the community and give more regular updates as we ramp up our token launch.
Awesome, awesome. Well, and let me just kick things off then. So, Bondins, thank you all for joining. So, I'm Paul, head of the marketing here at Bondex, and I'm joined with Ignacio, the CEO and co-founder of Bondex. And today we're going to give you a bit of a behind-the-scenes look at what it really takes to bring a token to market. And something you all be very interested in is where we're at with launching and BDXN. A lot of you have been really, really interested in this, especially after years of using Bondex, loading the app. And you would have seen along the journey a lot of other projects launching, and you'll see big headlines when projects launch. But what often you don't see is the months of prep that go into making these launches happen, from signing exchange agreements to legal teams, including KOLs and running marketing and setting up liquidity with market makers. It's a massive operation. And we're also going to talk today about timing, what month, what dates we're targeting, and how market sentiment really plays a role. And importantly, what happens after TGE, because it's not just the launch, there's so much that happens after as well. And for us, we are really looking forward to our TGE. It really signifies the beginning of what we hope is a whole new chapter for Bondex, which will be live on the market. So we'll also explain how Bondex is really approaching the TGE differently. It's a really product-led approach. We don't want to approach it with hype and hype alone, but we've got real product, real revenue, real users, real professionals using our product. And yeah, this space is going to be diving into all your most asked questions. And we also want to do something as well. We want to make sure that we hear from you. And so incentivize that. Anybody who gets up and asks a question will be given 500 bond points towards, which will go onto your bond point balance. So please, we want to hear from you. We want to have your questions. We want you to think of some great questions outside of the classic when TGE, which we'll try our best to answer today. Please be thinking of that. And what we'll do is we will bring you up on stage. All you need to do is click the button, request to speak. You'll see that in the bottom left-hand corner if you're on mobile and if you're on the web as well. So that's a long intro. Let's kick things off. Ignacio, and maybe just start us off, with the top line question there of what's really involved in getting listed on top exchanges.
Yeah, so it's actually a quite complex process with a lot of parties involved. That involves negotiations, due diligence, legal, compliance, salesmanship. Like it's really, really, honestly, a complex process. Third time's the charm. We're going to make this window and list very soon, which is exciting. But I wanted to give an update. Everyone's asking when TG, when TG. People say things like Bitcoin is at X price. Where can you go right now? So I wanted to kind of clarify and give an insight from the inside of what it takes to actually list a token, to explain how it doesn't really work, or is as immediate as one would think. It goes, takes months of preparation, and it involves a lot of things. I would say that the main three things involved in listing on top exchanges and having a successful TG is really, I call it a triangle. It's three, right? Number one is the fundamentals of the project, the quality of the team, how good is the product and the technology, and revenue, users. Now this is more and more valued, more like traditional venture, actually. I think we've matured as an industry, and the gatekeepers, which are the exchanges, are looking at these things a lot more than before. That would be maybe 95% marketing and a founder that was good on Twitter. And this has changed, and we're reaping the benefits of it because they're looking for projects exactly like us. Number two is marketing, being able to transmit the vision and the narrative of the project to potential buyers and your previous investors in our public sale, our community who has been supporting us from the beginning and will enjoy the benefits and the upside of the airdrop. You have to transmit the vision and the narrative of the project and attract people to buy the token, right? And that involves KOL campaigns, other marketing campaigns, trading competition, announcements, partnerships. The community sentiment is really actually really, really complex as well. And I'm lucky to have Paul here as my partner on that side, and a great marketing team. And lastly, the third part of the triangle is the market. And this involves, number one, having sustainable tokenomics, legals, compliance, exchange due diligence negotiations with them, and securing a slot. And lastly, also the market making, providing liquidity across several exchanges, decentralized and centralized, and be able to, for people to have enough liquidity and deep liquidity so that people can trade and buy and sell the token.
It's really good, Ignacio. I think one of the things we see a lot is exactly what you said. A lot of our community are asking, hey, like the market's good. We're hitting, Bitcoin's over 100K. We're seeing Ethereum act like a meme coin. That was the headline I saw on Milk Road today. And the market sentiment is changing. Why can't we just launch tomorrow? And what's stopping us just from doing a DEX launch, on these decentralized exchanges?
A tier one project like us that is very buttoned up, that is professional, that is serious, centralized exchanges are a key component. I think that for memes, DEXs are more suitable because there's nothing behind it in terms of more product. It's culture, right? It's tokenized culture, and it's got a value, and there's speculation to it, and it's fun. But for us, right, we're solving a real problem. We're enabling talent exchange, networking. We have revenue. We have a real fundamental product and service that adds value to both companies and users. And therefore, centralized exchange path is much more suitable for us. However, we are actually going to be setting our price in a DEX sort of mechanism. That's the new path that the big tier one exchanges have chosen, that they find to be a more fair way to have price discovery and price setting before you list on the centralized exchanges, all happening on the same day. It also depends on the internal priorities of the exchanges, not just us. They look at market conditions, right? How much liquidity they see in the market, how much demand, and how the launches of projects during that time are performing, as well as, they also do follow the hot trends and narratives, what is the flavor of the month. We don't really chase the flavor of the month. We stuck to our fundamentals, and now that they're valued and they're considered in high regards, alts and fundamental projects that have strong fundamentals, this is our time. And then you have to compete with other projects to get your slot, right? There's millions of tokens now, right? And there's a lot of alt and good projects, right? VC deploys a lot of money that leads to people creating a lot of companies and projects. And there's a lot of competition now. There was a backlog, right? For a really long time, very short market windows for all projects. You have to look at our category, right? Bitcoin is its own animal. Then there's alts, but the top 50 of token market cap, that's kind of like the blue chip that they're already established. Then there's memes, and then there's new alt. We're in the new alt category. And they look at how those are performing. So you have to look at, the performance in terms of price, volume, and then they decide, okay, we're going to list you based on that. They look at your fundamentals, again, tech, revenue. Are you going to be able to last a long time? That's what really they're determining. And then they provide you a slot that you compete with other projects with, which is very, very, very competitive. And that's kind of what it looks like in terms of how to manage the timelines, and why just because Bitcoin goes up, it doesn't mean the exchange goes, oh, we're going to list you tomorrow. They're like, we have a whole schedule and a bunch of projects that are already scheduled in. When can we fit you in? And this, then you kind of have a lead exchange, and then you coordinate the rest of exchanges around it.
So you're really at the forefront when it comes to kind of speaking with exchanges. And like you say there's so many projects that are looking to launch, when the market turns up. What's been the general sentiment as you've kind of checked in with exchanges, and you say that, they're really valuing projects with fundamentals? How does Bondex kind of come off when you're speaking to these exchanges?
Someone at one of the tier one exchanges told me that we are, they talk about us as one of the most professional teams in the industry. I think we have a little bit of TradFi and traditional industry background, and so we're not full degen kind of flavor. And I think they really value that, especially in the last 6 months. I think everyone realized that the playbook of just hype, marketing, engagement, noise, airdrops, unsustainable incentives, all of it led to very little product market fit. And ultimately, if you don't have product market fit, and you don't have revenue and users that are willing to pay for your product, and mechanisms to then distribute those revenues to the users, it's not going to last for a long time. And now that's what they're looking for. And that's why, I'm happy to report that, it's some of the exchanges we've had relations for like over a year or a year from the first time we wanted to launch, right? Third time's the charm, guys. And they keep, kind of like a VC, you keep checking in with them, giving them the hot updates, providing more due diligence, providing the updated data of your users' engagement, growth, revenue, etc. until, one day you kind of win them over and they're like, okay, sign the list. And then you begin the negotiations. So I think we come off as, a really buttoned up professional team that has a clear, consumer facing and problem solving service and product that is fundamental. And in my view, it's the time for projects like Bondex to shine.
Yeah, I love it. And maybe you could give us a bit of a bit of behind the scenes as well in terms of how does it work with even something like due diligence within exchange? Is it just, are they just looking at your socials? Do they just kind of have a quick scan on the website, and then if they like you, essentially they give you a thumbs up and you're a way to go, or does it go a bit deeper?
Funnily enough, I was having a chat with someone that super smart ex Bridgewater, who now works. She's a venture partner and works for a really renowned market maker. And she told me that it's really evolved and matured over time. Even the top exchanges used to just look at someone's Twitter account and who was following you, and that was like probably the biggest factor in their due diligence. I think things have really matured, and due to regulatory headwinds and some of the things that have happened in the industry, like since the collapse of FTX, for example, have gotten much more robust, and therefore they're much more buttoned up. And it begins with the submission of listing requests, which, gives the details of the project, vision, data, what problem are you solving, your roadmap, kind of like an in-depth view at the project, right? And then if they like you, they will request a due diligence questionnaire, which goes much deeper than that, which that includes, background checks into the team, the company. They will look actually in depth at the data that you provide, and they will look for proof of the data that is accurate. They'll, kind of talk to you live about, the roadmap. How do you see it? Essentially pitching in a similar way that you would do for anyone that's investing in your company, similar to VCs. But I would say actually maybe even deeper due diligence than VCs do. And this is because, again, things are much more regulated. And every kind of geography has different processes and ticks. The Americans are different from, the Asian and the Europeans. In Europe, for example, now you have MiCA and you have to be compliant with MiCA. In the US, you need legal opinion that shows that, for example, you're a utility token versus a security, right? So every single region kind of has different requirements, and you need to meet them all. So it's quite a lot of work. And then they also do, know your business, KYC equivalent for companies, KYB, that you have to pass as well. And, some of these due diligence questionnaires, they're as long as 20, 22 pages by the time that you submit them. And we've done this across, 12, probably maybe 15 exchanges in total. And we've submitted more than once and given updates on them. It is quite a lot of work. And I think it should be, right? Because we want an industry that's safe and robust, and we want quality projects to list, but it's indeed quite, a lot of paperwork and work behind the scenes.
It's pretty good. I think one of the things that we were obviously looking at coming into kind of 2025, we were looking at, can we launch at the end of 2024, start Q4? If the markets just weren't now, and obviously we've got strong advice from our tier one exchanges to be like, it's not going to happen. And then obviously Q1 is just, we're past Q1 now, but now it's the market's really kind of starting to shift. Could you maybe paint the picture of what's already in motion in terms of TGE, the exchanges, anything like that?
Yes. So third time's the charm. Again, last time, there's a lot of things out of our control, especially market conditions. And unfortunately, a tariff war broke out when we were scheduled to go to market. It wasn't the right time, and we had to move it. But I'm happy to report that, we don't just sit still when that happens, and we had to postpone the TG. And no one's in more pain than me in terms of the pressure I feel when that happened. And I'm happy to report that actually, due to some of the moves that we made during that time or since then, including some M&A we've executed, scaling our revenue, reach traction, and the kind of our services and what we provide, we've been able to unlock even better actually deals and terms and even exchanges. And we have been allocated a slot, and I don't want to confirm the exact date, but we're looking at the first week of June, and it's with a global top tier one centralized exchange, but they have to be the one to announce. And so be on the lookout. It will happen in May. They will announce first, and then we'll begin showcasing the full lineup of exchanges that we have. So we're locked and loaded. There's still a little bit of technical integrations to do where they test the token. You need to provide and plug them in with your market makers. There's a lot of work to be done, but we're very close, weeks away now.
I think that's massive news, and I think the community will be very excited about this. And obviously, the next questions will be, what's the exchange and what's the date? What would be your initial response to that question? Someone said, well, just tell us the exchange.
That unfortunately I cannot disclose it. In fact, if there's an information leak, you risk losing, the offer and the slot from the exchange. So we cannot disclose it. All I can say is tier one global centralized exchange. We're very happy, uh, and it's going to be exciting. But they have to be the ones to announce first. They will be announcing it very soon. They have to be the ones to actually disclose it. So unfortunately, I cannot reveal it just yet.
It's great. I think one of the things that gets me excited is we've got such a vocal community. They are very active in Twitter, on the Discord, on Telegram as well. And we've recently formed this bonding army. And I get excited with TGE at the opportunity that kind of lies ahead for this bonding army, to really help tell the story of Bondex, what we're building, how we're really got a product that is real world utility, is tackling these problems that, it's not just a DeFi protocol or another social. It is a totally new way of thinking about the way people build careers, people's identities show up as professionals, and the reputation and what that can unlock. And I get very excited about that. If you were speaking to our community, which you obviously are right now, and knowing that now, okay, TGE is on, it's going to be happening very soon. What do you want to kind of encourage them to do?
It's a good question, Paul. I would say, hodl, hold your tokens, because this is just actually day one. It is the very beginning of the journey. We've been building for 4 years, and this is a massive and pivotal moment. And we will be judged as a publicly traded companies, essentially. But ultimately, we're going to use our treasury to deliver on our vision, execute our vision and roadmap, and it's just the beginning. We're going to be building a real monster protocol and ecosystem. And at the end of the day, the reason that alts have not performed in general as well as, I think they did in the previous cycles is because people are disillusioned. The two main reasons are they either did not have revenue or achieve product market fit, or even if they ended up generating revenue, they didn't give it back to the token holders. As we build this incredible ecosystem with identity, reputation, and the account at its core, with several enterprise-grade utilities, including talent exchange, getting jobs, getting talent, and enabling networking. We're also working on another acquisition that we'll be announcing soon. And ultimately, we're going to be generating these revenues that we'll be giving back to the token holders. And that's how we win in the long term. Solid business model, solid tokenomics, and a positive flywheel in which we reward those token holders and the people that back us and stake us and, are part owners of the ecosystem. So I would tell them to hodl and buy more.
Awesome. You mentioned actually there an acquisition, and I do want to come on to that. But before I do, I just want to give a quick shout out to our community. We, as I said at the start, really want to hear from you. So I'm going to ask Ignacio one more question. And then whilst it's answering that, if you want to come up on stage and actually ask a question yourself, we'd really want to hear from you. And anybody who does, we'll be rewarding you with 500 bond points. So if you ask a question, we'll reward you directly with 500 bond points. So long as it's not when TGE, because that would be a real shame to hear that question after what we've just gone through here. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you. So all you need to do is raise your hand. And Ignacio, just whilst we're waiting for people to kind of raise their hand, if you just want to kind of talk a bit about the acquisition that happened this month as well, that's kind of been part of this whole process really for us, the Web3 career acquisition. What's that been like? And I would love to hear from you in terms of why does it make sense for Bondex?
Absolutely. So my actual background, I started my career in mergers and acquisition and investment banking, same as my co-founder and the co-founder of Bondex, Martin. He was also for Goldman Sachs. And therefore, I think that position us in a privileged position to know how to execute, a deal, even though it's much smaller scale than when I was working for a big investment bank. And ultimately, I think crypto and the industry has not had enough M&A. It's not only a way for founders and investors to exit, but it's also a way for us to grow and actually, scale companies and also become extremely competitive. And for us, Web3 careers has incredible synergies. It's an incredible asset to purchase. It's the number one job board. It's one of the oldest ones. It commands an incredible amount of traffic. And for us, it's not just also providing a great revenue stream, but it's super complementary to what we're building in the ecosystem. And you will see a lot of, good technology that we're going to be plugging into it, adding a lot of value and really becoming the number one and undisputed leader in terms of talent in the Web3 industry.
It's awesome. I mean, even before I was part of Bondex, I was been a huge fan of Web3 career. I loved the feel of it, felt super degen. And now actually looking underneath the hood, seeing how many people love Web3 career. It is a fantastic website, 1.5 million views every single month. We have a lot of, every single top tier crypto company is using Web3 career and Bondex now to find their next hire. And we get really excited about this. So let's dive into some questions. Annie, you are up on stage. Do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question to Ignacio?
Good day, everyone.
Hello.
Good day. I really want to appreciate the Bondex team and all the modalities they're putting in place in order to see that we have a successful launch. But of recent, I found out that my Bondex app is not logging in. I found out that it will remain in a place I can't get access. I don't know if it's actually a general problem or something that is just happening to me. I tried to chat them in the Discord, but then I couldn't get a favorable response. So I just decided to ask. Here, maybe it's a general issue or it's just me. And aside that, I wanted to ask something. It's Bondex, the utility actually meant for Web3 alone, or we are looking at integrating other areas aside Web3 in the future years to come, or maybe moments to come.
Interesting question. And what I would say on the first thing, please use our support, not just Discord. If you go to our website, you can submit a support ticket, and we have customer service that will help you with your technical issues. But on the question, which was very good, the Web3 market, if you try to boil the ocean, you want to focus on a narrow lane, perfect your product and services, and then expand into other areas. Our long-term vision is absolutely to also tackle Web2 companies. The kind of the natural progression that I see is going to other technology startups, probably starting in SMB, small businesses and startups, scaling to larger tech companies, and then followed by probably financial services and healthcare services. Those are some of the industries that command the most amount of budget and spend in terms of talent acquisition and HR, software and services and CRMs and things like that. But first, it is already a big enough price and market to corner for us to focus on the Web3 market first. Not just in terms of the technology we use, but also in the terms of clients. Once we corner that market, which is what we intend to do, we will begin looking at how to expand into other industries and the general economy.
Wow, that's great. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Annie. And just to add on to that, what Ignacio said, it's good to understand the size of the market. I mean, just on recruitment, which is a small part of the Bondex ecosystem, but globally, it's around $650 billion is spent just on recruiting globally across all companies. So, of course, I think we definitely want to start in Web3, hone in and get really sharp. And then when the time is right, look to see how we can bring the value across other verticals and other companies in the kind of the Web2 space and wider. But thank you, Annie, very much for your question. I would love to bring up Rec up next. If you want to unmute yourself, Rec, you're through.
A very simple question. So, are there plans to enable Bondex as a direct payment method for the service on the platform, like freelancing, contracting, or premium features to create a closed loop for the users? Are there plans like that to use Bondex as a direct payment in the platform?
Awesome question. Ultimately, you want to give the token as much velocity in terms of use and utility as you can for it to actually accrue value, right? Which then, it's captured in the total valuation of the company and obviously the upside that every token holder receives. And the plan for us has always been, or the thesis and policy and, vision is that you have a Web2 technology and services that work, and then you tokenize them. So the TG is actually the beginning of us beginning to implement our token, not just as a revenue sharing mechanism, but also giving it more and more utility and implementing our token economy paper, which outlines the entire plan into the services. So absolutely, people will be paying for the services and whether it's talent or premium subscriptions in our native token. And the way you do it is now other companies have built great technology that lets you easily off ramp and on ramp and using credit cards to then buy your native token for those services, which is really exciting. And that's what we'll be building over the next year, actually, after the TG. So great question. It is in the roadmap, and we plan to give that utility and velocity to the token.
All right. Thank you very much.
Rex, thank you, and keep a lookout for your DMs, where you'll get a message from the Bondex account for your 500 bond points, and we'll sort that out for you. Okay, coming up next is Kamisu. If you want to just unmute yourself, Kamisu, and share your questions for Ignacio.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
First of all, I welcome Mr. Ignacio and the community members. So I don't have any questions, but I want to say thank you to Mr. Ignacio for this great opportunity he have already gave us. Thank you very much once again.
That's very nice, Kamisu. Thank you for letting us know.
Thank you.
Yeah, lovely.
I really appreciate it. Means a lot.
So next up, let's get. I'm going to say your name wrong. It's Kaung Suta.
First of all, I want to ask as a first question, after the token launch, what kind of campaigns, airdrops, or reward mechanism can we expect for active user while Bondex continue in exhibiting the community the way it has during the pre-launch phase?
It's a good question. And there's a lot of information on this in our token economy paper, which you can find on our website at the very bottom, in a super clear roadmap on how we plan to continue to distribute airdrops. I think airdrops, we've learned from, I think, what we've seen in the market, which a lot of the time has been unsustainable incentive mechanisms. And if you make them unsustainable and you attract, or you don't create the right incentives and tasks, you don't convert people into actually using the product and service, and then they move on to the next incentive. So you want to, aim it at the right audience and reward the right behaviors, essentially. And for us, we have an ecosystem rewards pool. So after the initial community airdrop, the next airdrops will be from the ecosystem rewards pool, which we will continue to replenish always with the revenues generated from the company. And then on a periodic basis, we will have airdrops for the people that kind of complete task and earn it, and then also the token holders will be able to stake them and receive part of that airdrop. And the staking to enable receiving the airdrop, if you're a token holder, will be gated by you actually participating and adding value to the ecosystem, which we can track by things like the gamification and the reputation score. That enables a meritocracy. It also enables it being a utility token, and to me, it enables a sustainable token economy that rewards new users, existing users, supporters, and investors, and creates a positive flywheel between the product services revenue and all the stakeholders of the ecosystem.
Thanks for the answer.
Yeah, awesome. And let me just add onto that as well, which is, if you do look at our tokenomics, you'll see the exact what Ignacio said there, which is huge allocation added there towards the ecosystem and rewards pool. And when you actually, the quick way to see, well, actually, how much is that in US dollars, is to take the valuation of Bondex, which at the coin list price was around about 85 million. And if you times, I think it's 30% of our tokenomics is dedicated towards the sustainable approach to rewarding and incentivizing that community. That's a lot that we're putting there. So just at that valuation, it comes about $25 million, which we're dedicated to putting into practice to make sure that we create the most sustainable and the most incredible new way of people earning. And we've had two questions here about fractional earning, and we want to create new ways for our users to earn, and more interesting ways for our users to earn. And that rewards pool is a huge part of that. And I'd really encourage everyone to dive in onto that tokenomics.
One of the key to point out for me is that we will have an infinite amount of airdrops because we will be replenishing that ecosystem rewards pool destined to be redistributed to the token holders and our users. And so, it's essentially, a sustainable design for longevity and for people to, kind of enable a meritocracy. So, something that's really important. We will always keep redistributing the value that the ecosystem generates.
It's awesome. Any more hands before we wrap this up, guys? It's been great hearing from you all. So last chance to raise a hand. We will wrap this up. From my side then, just want to say a big shout out to the Bonding Army. Thank you for all your support. If you want to join the Bonding Army, jump onto our Discord and have a look. You'll see some instructions there. And Ignacio, is there anything you want to say just to kind of wrap this up?
I just want to say thank you and be excited. A lot of announcements are coming soon. We're ramping up. It's only a few weeks away now. It's been a long time in the process, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears building this company and project. And I want to thank you for your continued support, and be on the lookout as well. We're going to be doing a lot more Q&As and AMAs as we ramp it up, because I want the community to be as informed as possible.
Lovely. Well, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much, Ignacio. Thank you, team. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye now.